Sonya and Sasha, for real.
You're listening to BRIMBANK Live on Live FM. This is the Sonya and Sasha for Real show, and we have such a special treat today. We can't even believe that we've managed to organise this, Sash. Have like two chicks from the burbs talking to a superstar. Like, how the hell does this happen? Now, let me introduce. I need to get this introduction right.
Have you got all these details? Because I'm telling you, this intro is out of control.
Babe,
like, I don't
I've
think
been
we've got a
researching.
resume like that one.
Never.
We've never had a resume like this.
I'm tired reading it. So, all right, he'll tell you he's an average guy who kicks a round ball around, and people seem to be entertained by that. But this man is a real life champion. He has FFA Cups, played in World Cup qualifiers, has golden boots, championships, represented Australia as a Socceroo, and in the Olympics. First player to score more than 3 goals in an A-League match, and holds the international record for the most goals scored in a professional football match, which is our lucky number 13. And he's an ambassador for Melbourne Victory, and importantly, one of this year's ambassadors for the Polished Man campaign, which is very close to our hearts. Sash, we were ambassadors a couple of years ago.
Yeah, we are.
We have our blue fingernails on right now. You'll be able to see that on our YouTube. We are beside, not offside, ourselves to have with us Archie Thompson.
Hey guys, thanks for having me on. I have to correct you. I'm no longer a Melbourne Victory ambassador.
Okay.
That's okay. But it's
all
good.
right.
I mean, I still have a great affiliation with the club and still support it, even on the fence. I have to be on the fence, obviously, working with Fox Sports, but still kind of lean towards them.
They would still
actually have to pinch
have you as one of their sons.
Yeah.
Do you actually ever have to pinch yourself when somebody reads back your career?
Yeah, a little bit. Obviously, I've enjoyed every little bit of it, and it's taken me to some wonderful places I would have never thought that I would ever go see, and some amazing people, had some amazing experiences, and but it's on to the next part of my journey, which I'm loving too.
Amazing.
And so you were part of the Polished Man. So
yeah.
How did that happen?
Well, funny enough, it was probably last year. I just needed a purpose. I felt like I needed a purpose, and I was an ambassador for Movember and other things. But I just reached out to Polished Man to see if I could get involved in some way, because the organisation and campaign, I guess, holds something close to my heart, having my own kids, and to think that, what, 1 billion kids, like that's a half the world's population have been affected by some kind of domestic violence or some form of abuse, and that's just ridiculous, and it hurts to even think that that's happening. So I mean, I did reach out last year. Lucky for me, this year they got in contact with me and said they'd love for me to be an ambassador, and yeah, I'm obviously super excited to bring awareness, raise some money, and because I love kids, and you know, they're such vulnerable little beings, and we should be able to look after them and teach them all the things that are right in this world.
So Archie, why do you think it's important? Because it's Polished Man, and it was started by you know, a guy who was you'll be able to tell us a bit more about the story, but who sat with a little girl who was who'd been abused for a couple of years by the director of the orphanage that he was visiting at the time. And you know, it's called the Polished Man, but we've got polished women who support. Why do you think it's really important that men be leading the way in you know, stopping and preventing violence towards children?
Well, I think with stats and facts is that obviously, I think with the males, they're mostly the perpetrators of such offences, but then also too, they are a lot of victims that are males that are too scared to speak out. And you know, I think this just gives a platform for those that feel like they can't express what's ever happened to them. It gives them a voice, and you know, the more that we talk about such campaigns, and is the only way we're going to bring awareness to what's happening out there, and people will jump on board. I mean, for me, just by having the polished nail already, and it's so funny. I mean, it is to have the conversation when you do see it, but in fact, it does, because I mean, I'm on the street and someone will notice, and then I'm more than happy to tell the story, because, like I said, the more people that are aware of it, the more people get involved, and then we can prevent some of these atrocities happening to young kids. And it's not about fixing it; it's just about preventing it, I think. And that's what the Polished Man is all about. And I'm excited to obviously be, and very grateful to be a part of it.
So in this crazy time of like COVID and isolation and balancing up with having a family and a career, how has being a father really affected you during this whole COVID time? Like, how have you coped with balancing staying at home, being locked up, working, being a dad? What kind of dad are you in this crazy COVID world?
Well, at the moment, an absent one, because unfortunately my kids are in the Gold Coast. So I haven't been able to see my kids.
Oh no,
since,
Archie.
Yeah, since March. So
Oh.
so it's been quite hard on myself. So I guess these little things that come up and it can help me in other ways. That I guess connects with my kids, and I'm all for it. But in saying that, I have a partner now that I live with that has kids that has had a week on, week off, and they're 7 and 9. So it's been.
You're in our territory, Archie. You've been doing some homeschooling. Are you losing your mind like we are?
Yeah, it's been difficult, but I have to give credit to all the parents and especially the mums out there. Just seeing with what my partner has to deal with is quite tough, but we're all getting through it. I mean, they'll go back to school next week, but I will say that it's actually opened my eyes a little bit in the sense of what I kind of missed out with teaching my own kids, because maybe with what I was doing, being part of football and that sort of environment, I felt like I wasn't present a lot for my kids growing up. And that's probably what I'm reflecting on right now in this moment, and being able to kind of, I suppose, be more present with my partner's kids. Can't wait till the borders open up so I can go and see my own, and just kind of, because I've had a lot of time to be able to just reflect on a lot of things, especially in this time. And I suppose a lot of people have, and brings up some stuff that maybe you would have thought that you dealt with, but you haven't. So that's brought a lot of light to that situation for me. But so I'm really looking forward to getting back and seeing them, and really just wanting to be that dad that I've always wanted to be.
Thank you for saying that, because that's such a raw and honest thing to say. And being a parent, it's the hardest job in the world. And then every one of us at any time, no matter how hard we work and whatever we do, we're always feeling like we're not good enough and we're not enough and we've got to do more.
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
Constant feeling.
It is a constant feeling. And I have to say that the government is doing right in that they're saying, okay, you go on a mental health plan, which is 10 visits. They've now made it 20, and I'd love for them just to make it. This is a really key thing that people should be obviously working on, and the government should subsidise every part of it, because when I was speaking to my psychologist, and when we're all stressed, especially in this sort of time, we always go back to whatever default that we go back to. And my default was to go back to feeling that I was like a bad dad. And, and that's obviously really hard to hear, and always so kind to friends that maybe go through certain situations. But what we really find, I guess, harder is to be kind to ourselves. So I've kind of learned to be able to be kind to myself, and really looking forward to being able to, again, to be that dad. And this is why this campaign is so important to me, is because, just being so absent from my kids, I'm just hoping that a lot of people out there aren't absent to their own kids. So that's, I guess, an important thing for me.
That's so self-aware of you, Archie, and it's brilliant.
To be honest, it's. I mean, I'm learning all the time. Like, probably over only the last couple of years is that I've been more conscious about stuff that I've done, what I'm doing, being more present, and that's why I'm really looking forward to going and see my kids, because they probably get to see it firsthand how much of an evolution and I've kind of had in the last year or so. But it's anything that's we all bring awareness to is important. I think that's why this Polish man's so great for myself right now.
It's just so refreshing because, you know, we've got these sporting icons, you know, around the world that people look up to, and just to hear you as a dad, like that is as real as it gets. You talk about the For Real show, like that's as real as it gets, you know, and your kids and young, particularly our boys, because they're highly at risk. You know, we know in Australia we've got one of the worst records for, you know, for boys' mental health. So, you know, just to hear somebody speak that way and, you know, say, I've got a psychologist and I've done all this reflecting and I've got all of this, you know, this self-awareness right now, the power.
Absolutely. The power
for
that
two mums of two boys each.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, look, I think it's important that we're examples, and I think the only example I can show my kids, and look, I'm no angel, I'm still learning, but I think the example I can show my own kids, especially my boy, is that it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to not be scared to tell people how you feel. And like, you know, I'm a pretty emotional person, and I think if your kids can see that, especially coming from like a male that's supposed to be this tough, hard guy that's, you know, has to support, has to do this. And I'm not saying that mums do it, but I just say just there's so much onus on the dad to be the strong one. And I think it's okay to show that, no, we're not strong all the time, and that we do hurt and we do get upset. And that's the kind of relationship I want to have with my kids, that they're okay to show their vulnerabilities, and it's so great now that I get have so many wild conversations, maybe conversations I don't really want to have with my
we feel
17-year-old daughter, especially.
Oh yeah, okay. You're in it, my friend. You're right in it.
I'm really in it. But you know, I guess I've had a lot of realizations, reflections, and when someone told me, would you like your daughter to go out with someone like yourself? I know we're probably going off topic, but and I would tell it, and I said, hell no, there's no way. And that kind of was like, oh man, I need to really look within myself and see what's not really going right for me to say that. And now I'm kind of happy that I feel like I'll be very happy if she came across someone like myself in saying that. But yeah.
Do you think that when you're reflecting back on being a parent, do you then get to be able to reflect back on your own childhood?
Oh, that's such a great question, and it is, because I came from a sort of environment where, and I didn't see it until kind of now having my own kids, is that my dad was always angry. It felt like he was just angry all the time, so I was always walking on eggshells. But the fact is, we had a big family. The stresses of probably working and trying to put food on the table. Just exhausted at the end of the day, and we all know what that's like as parents.
And we get it now, don't we? We get it now.
We get it. So I can't be hard on him now, and it's actually changed my relationship with him. And it wasn't only just recently that my partner was at my sister's 40th, and my dad happened to be sitting in the background, and my partner was talking to him, and he said to her, because he came from an upbringing that was tough and you know, quite violent, his upbringing, so it's only his environment, but he just said to her, he goes, because we're all having fun, we're all having laughs, and that's what we are when we're a family together. He just said that, well, I'm so happy and grateful that my kids are breaking the mold, which is wow. You know, so beautiful, and it made me emotional. It makes me emotional now when I think about it. But I mean, that's amazing. But I guess it's this time we get to reflect on a lot of stuff, and it's important that we, again, with this Polish man, that we bring awareness to all sorts of things. I mean, I know I do a lot of these things, but I kind of feel like it's a platform to talk about anything. So
yeah, of course.
Yeah. So there are a couple of amazing stories that are happening.
It's so interesting because when you talk about wanting to break that generational thing, you know, you don't often hear about the previous generation saying, I'm so happy that it's broken.
Yeah, 100%. Like it's because it's almost so set in a way, but I feel like my dad's, he's because he remarried, he's had kids again. So he kind of learnt, I think, from his first time in doing it. But we're all just trying to do it the best that we can. And just quickly with the story with the polished men too, is that my mum was taken from her family, and this is where it really resonated with me when we talk about where Polished Man started from, and obviously that young girl going into the orphanage, and you know what her parent thought that was happening was that she was getting looked after, but she was getting sexually abused. My mum was taken from her family, and you know, I won't go into details, but a lot of stuff that really affected her, and but she's a beautiful, strong woman, and amazing woman considering the stuff that she went through. And I guess that's kind of why it really resonates with me too, for being an ambassador for Polished Man.
We love the way that you speak about your mum. We love it. You know,
she's incredible. My dad's incredible. My mum's just amazing too. So yeah.
So do you, you know, we've done a bit of research on you, and we know that when you were a teenager, you got in a bit of trouble, went to court and walked out of court. And it was that moment that you said to your mum, I want you to be really proud of me, and I want to make a difference. And that's when I want to play pro football.
Yeah.
Do you, like, take us back to that moment? What was going through your head that made you change? Because there's so many kids that walk out of court and they don't make that decision. So what was going on with you that said, that's it, there's no more of that for me?
I just think that it was, I mean...
Do you remember that day?
Yeah, no, I was young, I mean, vaguely, but I was a rat bag. Like, we were all rat bags when we were younger. We all learned, but I think it was just seeing not the disappointment. I don't think it was a disappointment, just the sadness that was in my mum. Like, that... just walking into that courtroom, she was just so devastated that that we were here. And I think because I'm kind of called the golden child in the family, because you know, I think mum and dad really they obviously made a lot of sacrifices for me to become a pro footballer, and those sacrifices meant that my siblings probably missed out on a lot of things. But we're a very close family, that we're always happy for someone that does something or achieves anything. And so when I saw the disappointment in my mum, I said to her straight away, it was like, Mum, I'm going to make you proud. This is the last time you're going to see me here. And I guess that kind of helped me and gave me that drive to achieve a lot, and have that discipline to be able to pull myself out of certain situations. And that gave me that drive, and I didn't really look back. And so that was, I guess, a moment in time, but very grateful for it.
You're listening to BRIMBANK Live on Live FM. This is the Sonya and Sasha For Real show. We're here with the amazing and very deep and very self-aware. We didn't even know Archie Thompson.
I wouldn't. Look, to be honest, it's been a journey over the last couple of years, and people that probably hear it are probably used to an ego-driven Archie Thompson from a long time, you know. But you live and you learn, and I'm trying to grow and be better each day with whatever whatever vibe I'm giving off, and that's all that we can be. But it's just being kind to yourself, being kind to others is, I guess, the most important thing we can really do in life.
So in your career, you must have had some incredible highs and some incredible lows. Tell us about the highs and the lows, like the complete opposites of the scale.
Well, highs are just obviously winning so many things with some great people, being amazing full stadiums, full chanting for you. You know, funny thing is, when I watch stuff back on, a bit of ego creeps in, I must admit, and I'll look at the glory days of when I was playing. But I used to watch the reaction of the supporters. So when you scored a goal, I loved the seeing that reaction of just sheer joy from the supporters. That's what really, I guess, got me off when it was football. So those moments are fantastic. Probably real down part was probably my last year of football, separated from my wife, families broke up, and then I got told that this was the last year, and I wasn't going to sign at Victory again. So that all just happened at once. And so that was probably, for me, the real, I guess, low point in my football career, because it was meant to be a special year, go out like, in your last year, but sometimes things don't turn out the way that you hope. But I guess it's made me stronger. And but look, I've had lots of highs and lows, not just in football, but they all make you better in some way.
So that
Sash-
particular year, how did you actually deal with it?
How did I deal? I didn't
Yeah.
deal very well with it, to be honest. I didn't deal well at all with it. I was probably shut myself away from the world. Football used to be, for me, a place where I could go and forget about everything, training, a game, but it just got to the point where that was doing nothing for me. But I was really lucky that I've got great people around me. A brother that's amazing, and we probably don't speak as much these days because you get in this COVID world, you just kind of stick in your own little bubble. But before this, I speak to him every day. But he's obviously in the mental health sector, and he helped me get out of my little slump. And we all have slumps. I mean, I still have moments where things get on top of you. But I feel like if you've got people to talk to and great people around you, and it's funny, I mean, with football, there's a lot of, I guess, people that hang around or want a piece of you when you're obviously at the peak of whatever you're doing. And then once everything gets taken away, those ones that you supposedly think are the ones that are meant to be your closest, you soon find out who really are. So I'm really grateful now that I have this core group of people that I love and adore that help me all the time.
Sasha and I are both speakers with young people in schools and universities, and we travel around the world and do seminars.
Amazing.
Yeah, so
Amazing.
sometimes, we're in front of 10 kids in Menangatang, or other times we're in front of 3,000 in an arena in Queensland. And, we have experienced a tiny bit of that high that you talk about, and it's intoxicating and you just love it. And we both say that it's the happiest place that we have. And then you come home and you've got to microwave the dinner and you've got to, put the kids to bed. And it's just like, oh, I was a rock star 5 seconds ago and now I've got to take the rubbish out. Like, this sucks. How do you deal with that? How did you deal with that?
No, well, I guess I had a good balance. I think, well, this is the same as what you guys, when I think of the story, is that when I scored 5 goals in a grand final in 2007, 50-odd thousand people, amazing night. About 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, I was changing a shitty nappy for my 6-month-old boy. So, right. I mean, but I was happy just to do that. Like, I mean, obviously I celebrated later, but I was just happy with that. Look, I love my own time. I love to be a bit of a hermit like that. I mean, I obviously loved the atmosphere and playing in front of massive crowds, but then I actually really enjoyed my own time too, where I was away from it. So I guess I just had a good balance for that. But look, don't get me wrong, I still love now. I mean, obviously 40 and seeing some of the matches that have been playing now in the atmosphere, it still gives me, it makes my head stand up. And I wish I was out there, but it just, it is what it is.
I think there was a Travis Scott, one of the, the rapper Travis Scott. He did a doco, and somebody said to him after his first big concert, they said, "Congratulations, you'll be chasing that high for the rest of your life now." He just And I often think about elite people in their field where they're getting admiration and adulation, and how do you go back to addictive? It's really addictive.
Yeah, well, I guess that's where people struggle, and especially athletes when they've come off such a high, and then it's no longer there, and then you're just forgotten about, and I guess it's just surrounding you with the people that just love you for who you are, and not just the footballer. So again, I'm just lucky that I've got some really beautiful, amazing people that see me more than just someone that kicks a level ball that gives people a bit of joy, as you said. Yeah.
Because obviously when you, like you just said, you know, at some moment you're the most important person and everybody wants a piece of you, and then all of a sudden, you know, it doesn't matter anymore, and you find out who your friends are. How did you actually deal with that? Because that has to really almost physically hurt when you think, oh, you know, just because I'm not making your life any better, or I'm not giving you anything, now you don't need me anymore. How do you actually deal with that? Because it hurts.
Well, it's hard. I don't think you can't deal with something like that. I mean, it's difficult. I mean, I kind of knew that things were changing when I was still playing, like, because I was sort of coming toward the end of my career. I mean, like, sponsors or personal sponsors would all of a sudden maybe not answer your phone calls, or maybe the amount of, you know, the money or product they were giving you is lessened, and then all of a sudden there's no more agreement. I guess those are the sort of things that you start to realize that, okay, things are starting to be taken away from you, and it's hard. It is hard, and I mean, I still have moments, you know, dealing with stuff like that. But I guess more and more I learn about myself. I learned that those sort of things are probably more for the ego than really for myself. Then you get to deal with things a lot more easier. And but you know, you still live and learn. And I always speak about ego because I was driven so long for it. And I guess those are the things that I guess feed the ego. And then once that's taken away, and you kind of learn about yourself, then everything's okay. And I feel okay. I feel okay about it all now.
The best part of listening to this conversation and you speaking, it is so obvious that you have done so much work on yourself.
Oh yeah, look, I have to say thanks to, I mean, a lot of people. I mean, Lubo Milicevic is someone I really I give a lot of praise to, because he went through a really dark period in his life where 2 years I didn't see any. He's an ex-footballer. 2 years I didn't see him. And then all of a sudden he comes out of nowhere, Arch, let's have a coffee. I go have a coffee. He's trying to have a conversation with me. I'm just on my phone half the time. Every time I seen a beep, I was looking at, and he was so calm and he just said, Archie, look, man, can you put your phone away for just a second and just let's have a conversation. Just be present. And then he started to give me books, and I read them, and I probably was reading them but not really reading them. And then, you know, I happened to meet my partner, and she's, I can't speak like highly enough. It just makes me emotional when I think about her. It's just my soul partner, and she's brilliant. She makes me want to be better. And she brought all these, like healing, holistic healing side that I kind of knew about, but wasn't really living it. But now I'm trying to do the best I can. I have healings. I do psychologists. Like, I mean, every day is a lesson, and we learn. And but I like, again, I'm just so grateful that I have someone like her, and you know, beautiful family and friends to be able to help me. And I guess it kind of helps me too. That I used to speak like this before, but I felt like it was corny, and people might think that, okay, but I know Archie before, he doesn't speak like that. But I don't really care now. you know what I mean? It's just kind of what you get. And I mean, I probably can't speak to certain ways that I want to speak to certain friends because they're not on a level that will kind of I can connect with, but that's okay.
I was about to say, because you've reached that next level, and you've done.
I try. Look, I'm not perfect, and I'll keep riding this wave of learning.
It's because we're all human, we're all human. Yeah. We're all still learning. Yeah.
But I've got this really awesome healer too. She's in Upway, and Pam's a beautiful card reader. When in Lygon Streets, that is amazing. So I mean, I've got all these really, like, I guess you got to believe in all that sort of stuff. But God, they've helped me so much.
Well, we need the numbers when the show's
Yeah,
finished. Just hook us up after this done, because we're in.
I'm always doing that because
Oh,
because you know, when you find that something that helps me it might necessarily help someone else, you know, and so that's why I'm always so open about speaking about it.
So good.
I absolutely love that. That's so authentic to be able to come from that space and really even saying it out loud and not actually caring about what other people think. And if they judge you and they go, "What's Archie Thompson doing? You're seeing a card reader from Carlton." You know what I mean? Like, what's he doing? But it is. It's just healing, and it's beautiful, and what works for you, and not caring about what other people think. It's such a beautiful space to be in, and it takes a lot to get there.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, and I still probably have moments where I kind of think about, or what do people feel about me or think about me. I still have those moments. But like, I feel like I'm in a bit of space to kind of recognize that that's happening. So, it's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing. Mm.
Okay, so tell us, what does Archie Thompson do for fun?
Now, fun.
Maybe not COVID times fun.
Yeah.
Do you go outside of your 5 kilometres, sneak out, just one step out?
All right.
Don't tell us if you do. Just keep it completely secret.
Well, me and my partner, we go for a walk, and there's a little Mexican place just in Yarraville, because I'm in Yarraville, and there's a little Mexican place that we get margaritas. So
now you're talking. Now you're talking their language. Yeah.
Go for a walk, pick up some margaritas. We go sit in the park, and we accidentally bump into the friends there.
Oh, whoops! Sorry. Whoops.
Whoops! Sorry. And then we'll chat and we'll have a laugh, and then that's kind of it. But I love mountain biking now. So mountain biking, I still love running. For me, running, I just love it. Like, I mean, I'd love to obviously run a bit more into nature, but I just love running. I love exercising. Like, I just can't seem to let that kind of ego go about having this and being okay with it and letting my body go. But otherwise, those are the sort of things. I love exercise. I love getting out and walking. Love riding. And when I can, I'll be obviously spending a lot more time with friends.
But that's not ego. That's just, you've found your jam. That's good for your mental health as well. You know, like that when I run, it's to let everything go and just, get inspired. And I think of the ideas that I want to, come up with, and makes you feel better.
It's amazing.
Especially during this time, like we need that. We need the exercise and the feel good endorphins that come from exercising and, having a laugh as well, especially during a bit of a pandemic,
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
We love how you speak about your partner and about your mum. We read that you credited your mum. She was a football player as well. And this is where you get some of your skills. Where does this come, this work ethic and this, drive? Where did that come from?
Well, I guess it was making that decision that I wanted to be a pro footballer. That gave me the drive. Very fortunate that I had parents that sacrificed and were willing to go that little bit extra to make those sort of dreams happen. And I guess because I went that kind of different road that maybe other kids my age went, that was probably the long way around. I guess it made me appreciate that could have been taken away from me, and so I just knew that whenever I sort of went, when it came to football and training, and I would always never leave anything left on a training field or anything, and I think it also too, when I made the decision, because I did work in a Chinese restaurant, I did only for a short time, but it was just long enough to know that this is not what I wanted to do, and work in an abattoir, and it was the dirtiest job you could imagine. It was actually cleaning out a shit bag from a cow. So that was my job. God. So I stunk basically a lot for a long time when I was working in that. But when I made that decision that I wanted to be a pro footballer, I started at the Chinese restaurant, because I was obviously doing things that weren't healthy for my body, neglected my football. When I made that decision to obviously be that pro footballer, I ran home from the Chinese restaurant, and it was only 4Ks. It wasn't far, but I stopped about 100 times because I couldn't breathe because I just neglected my body. But, you know, I just wanted it so much. I just kept persevering with it. So 100 times became 80 times that I stopped. Sort of 80 times became, you know, 20. And then it got to the point where I actually made it home without even stopping. And I just knew from that, it was like, I got home, I was like, man, I can do anything. I can do anything. And that was the moment I just kind of knew that when things will come my way, and when I'll be ready for it, because I've already put myself in a position to test myself. And again, I've been fortunate that stuff, because you attract what you want, you know, and I attracted what I wanted, and I was prepared when those things came around. So.
You've written a book. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Yeah, that
hey?
book.
Give us a bit of a go about this one, because that's one of our mantras. Yeah, it's like pull up, come on, get up, get on with it, girl. Pull your bootstraps up, you'll be right. Tell us about that.
I'm going to tell you, it wasn't a bestseller, that's for sure. It was in the first week was buy one get one free. But no, look, it was probably at a time when they asked me to write a book. I just went, yeah, okay. And probably, I mean, there was some things in it that I go, yeah, okay, that's real. But probably a lot of it wasn't who I was or what I am, or, you know, and I actually never even read the book. I haven't even read the book. But there are a lot of strong things in it, and that I did go through. And if someone's reading and a kid, and I've had kids read it and they've been inspired by it, then yes, it's fantastic. I mean, okay, even if they take a little bit from it, they're good for them, and if it helps them, brilliant. But if I could probably write another book, it'd be a lot different to that. What I've been through, and probably a bit more open. But would
you do it again? Because the way that you've spoken to us today, and the gold that you're, you know, giving everybody who's listening, we could do with an Archie Thompson 2.0 version, please.
Of course. Like, I mean, I guess it's about being honest, and which I'm still trying to learn and do every day. But I guess, 100%, I would love to write another book where it was more coming from who I am than what people wanted to hear, I suppose.
Have you had a chance to actually go out to any clubs and speak to the players about your transformation and where you are now, to be able to, you know, just to get them to see something different from, because they're probably you. They're stuck in that ego, and they're caught up in that.
Well, I'd love to, and I know that when I do speak with some kids that are obviously playing at the top level, I mean, first interaction is with a DM message on Insta, because they've done something really great, and then all of a sudden, I can easily see how they can maybe forget just the fundamentals of so many things, and then the spotlight gets put on them, and it's not necessarily their fault. It's just what happens. You do something great, and then all of a sudden you're getting all these accolades and everything. And it's easy to lose sight of a lot of things. So when I see a young boy do really well, I always text him and say, "That's, man, fantastic. You did incredible. Just make sure you stay humble and work really hard." And you know, they're really grateful to see the message, but they also like, okay, thank you, I'll really do that. And that's you know, once all this stuff kind of finishes, then I'd love to be able to do a bit more on that side of it. And because I would have loved someone to be able to pull me aside when I was back then, naive, ego-driven, you know, in that environment where it's easy to get lost. to have someone to keep me grounded, and but obviously
what would you have wanted them to say? What would you have said to Archie then?
To myself? Yeah, I would just say probably stay humble, which I tried to do anyway. I felt like I did pretty well with that, but maybe it probably would have been the stuff outside of football that I would have liked to have changed, to obviously tell them to be a bit more honest with things, not be disrespectful to women that I have over the years, and that's something that I'm disappointed in myself when I think about it, and I'd love to be able to tell Archie not to be like that, and because it's it's I'm only learning now that even now when I'm in the conversation with mates, and I hear sometimes a conversation that might go a little bit disrespectful, it makes me feel a certain way that I don't like, and look, I might still say some stupid stuff, but I mean, I'm more aware of it. I wish that I could tell that Archie back then those sort of things, and that's where I can hopefully teach the kids today.
How do you think clubs can actually do better with rising stars so that they don't get caught up like this?
Yeah, I think they're doing it better. I guess it's the older players that probably need to be to educate these kids probably better. But it's hard when you grow up in an environment that this is what you were shown at a young age. So I guess if you can try to break that mold, and I feel like it's happening. I definitely feel like it's happening. I know that the club that I was obviously involved with, Melbourne Victory, all the young boys that come into that club are taught really well, I guess, about what it means to be a Melbourne Victory person, not just on the field but off. So I guess everyone's learning, but I guess it's better if we teach these kids in school rather than at a club, because once they get to the club, they already know this is how you treat people, this is how you conduct yourself. It starts in schools, like where you guys go and mentor kids. This is where it needs to start.
And even at home, like for parents to have these 100%. Open conversations and say, 100%. I've done these things, or I've disrespected these people, and I've made these mistakes, and it's not, it doesn't make you a better person to think that you can get away with your ego and just act like that. Yeah. And to hear, and just for yourself being a role model and saying it out loud is huge for boys. Yeah. And men would not have said this before.
No, and I'm still so ashamed of that, and going back with obviously going to the psychologist, it brought out a lot of shame because of the stuff that I was doing behind the scenes that no one really saw. But then, you get into the arena and Archie this, Archie that. And it's almost like you're ashamed, and it's, I've only probably, guess now feel a bit more, I guess, kinder to myself, and not so much, not so ashamed as much now, because I feel like that I'm slowly starting to get back on the track where I need to be. I want to be.
Do you think that it's changing in terms of our elite, sports people? Because it used to be that there was these bad boys and they would, do it and kind of, but they're the footy player, or they're the, whatever. And then it seems like there's this new breed of sporting people. Like behind me, I've got Antetokounmpo's jumper, and I got to see him play in Jan, and he's one of these guys who goes back to Greece all the time and does clinics for young kids and gives lots of product away, and he's always very, he's a family man, and he doesn't get in trouble, and he doesn't do, do you reckon it's changing?
I hope so. I mean, I feel it is, and look, everyone's going to make mistakes. It's just life. I mean,
we're human.
We're human, and look, when I see some people get in trouble, especially the young boys or whatever it be, and people say, "Oh God, this and that," but the fact is that they're young. They're naive. They don't probably know how to handle certain situations in a mature way, and that's just how it is. And unfortunately, because of who they are and what they do, it gets brought into the spotlight. But then they forget it, and they don't see all the stuff that they do off. Besides that, like the hospitals they go see, the sick children that they bring a smile to. Those things outweigh a lot of those little things, but we all make mistakes. It's just life. I mean, I made loads and loads, and I'll still continue to make loads and loads. But we just got to be kinder to other people. And I guess I still go, oh man, really? But then I feel like, oh well, yeah, he's learning. It's his journey,
Just amazing, Archie. We've been blown away by speaking to you today. Like we did not expect to get such a heartfelt, like we've just got you as your realest and rawest and most authentic self. And thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
I really appreciate you guys listening. I don't know.
It's like we've had therapy today. We feel like we've had a bit of, we've got it out. We're feeling good. We're going to go have a healing and upweight. Like we're doing all right,
do you know what's going to happen after this, right? We're going to give you our psychic. You're going to give us our psychic. It's like I'm going to give you my healer. I've got a kinesiologist. Like we're just going to go, these are the herbs I'm taking. I've got some rescue remedy under the tongue. Like we're going all of that stuff.
I just started. I reached out to Cycle, Cycle, the mushrooms.
No.
Cycle, I think it's CYKEL.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think they're based in Byron, but they have mushrooms that for like all different, like, the lion's mane, which helps you focus better, sleep remedies. I mean, I've got it all.
Wow.
Even the CBD oil. That helps me kind of relax with the anxiety of sometimes stuff might overtake you. And I mean, I love all that sort of stuff. The more natural, the better, I guess.
Yeah, we love it too. We love it. So can we just ask, what is next for Archie Thompson? What's next for you?
I don't know. I guess I'll have to wait and see. I mean, fear always plays a big part in what, I guess thinking about it, but I just go with the flow. I feel like if I just trust more, like if we all just trust a bit more and let it be. What are you afraid of,
Archie? What do you fear?
Oh, well, you think about what's going to happen in the future. So your mind starts, and my mind does it crazily. Like my healer tells me all the time, oh, you're so on your head, Archie. You're so on your head. And I'm aware of it. I know that, but we always making these crazy stories up of what's going to happen and what's already happened, but it's not even happened. And and then the past stuff. And I guess I just got to believe that everything's just going to flow how it's meant to.
Do you know what? One of my new favourite sayings that I've got from my therapist is that and so we're sharing therapy sessions here, right?
Good.
So my new favourite saying, my therapist always says, when I get caught up in that space, she'll say, just say to the universe, surprise me. Give me something really cool that I'm going to love. Just surprise me with something. And do you know what? It actually and you literally go away and you're like, I don't know what to do. I'm not sure. I'm stuck in this situation. I don't know. If I turn right, I turn left. I don't know what I'm doing, and I don't know. I can't make those decisions. So you surprise me and give me something. And I tell you what, it's a good. And then all of a sudden, something weird just happens, and you're like, I didn't even think I'd be here. Like, I did not think that we would be speaking to Archie Thompson talking about psychics.
Well, I mean, I love obviously little quotes, and one that always sticks with me, and I love it, and because my daughter's 18th this month, so I mean, it's kind of hard too because she's going to be 18, and I won't be able to be up there and share it with her. So, but I sent her a beautiful crystal actually, because my partner's into healing and in crystals. So I bought this really big, beautiful one, and I sent it up, and I loved it. And I sent a quote, and you would have heard it, and I've heard it off Kung Fu Panda. I love Kung Fu Panda.
I love Kung Fu Panda.
Come on, yes.
Kung Fu Panda.
I love Kung Fu Panda 1. I love Kung Fu Panda 2. I love 3.
I
I
love
them
it,
all.
yeah.
They're fantastic. I can watch them all the time, and me and my partner love it. But this is the one quote that always I love is like, it's yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, and today is a gift. That's why they call it the present. And I love it. And I love it. And I guess that's kind of what we have to live and just trust. And I love that. I'm going to use that, universe.
Surprise me, universe, because I don't know what else to do. It's beautiful because it's literally, Sonia says that she's going to have on her grave one day, she finally let it go. I mean, you know, like because we're having all of that stuff, and you just think, I just need to let it go, because in my head it becomes way too much. So you've literally got, the only way that you can function is by just completely trusting and saying, I don't know where to go right now. I don't know what to do. So surprise me and give me some kind of direction.
Yeah, I love that actually. But it's like, it's good, and it's good to have good people around you. You know, and that's where I've been really fortunate. I mean, even my older sister, she's been through a lot. I mean, she lost her husband probably 6 years ago, and that was really tough on her, and it almost broke her. But before, I'm going off a little bit off track here, but they had IVF treatment, and they tried a couple of times, and when they had one, just a treatment, 3 days later, he passed away. And then the actual egg took. And so my daughter my sister ended up having a baby girl. But she puts a lot of things in perspective. And I guess it's when you've had such a loss like that, just makes you feel, and when you're given a gift, and the gift is her child, but there's the gift of life, and it's a gift that you have right now to be able to live and do those things. And she puts so many things into really great perspective for myself. And like I said, and it's the universe. We've got to be grateful to everything.
Archie, you have won us over. We are your greatest fans now. Like, we'll be walking around going, let me tell you, Archie Thompson, because you're absolutely incredible. Absolutely. What a gift. Like, honestly, and Sonia, when we actually put it out there, because the Polish Man was something that has been very, very dear to our heart. I sat on the board of Childwise, which was an organisation that worked together with the Polish Man when they first started. You know, when they first came, the concept of having this idea of putting together something where you would, you know, paint one finger and talk about it, you know, the stuff that's going on with children around the world. And so that was perfect to be able, and then we became ambassadors. And, you know, I've been painting one finger and my nails for years doing this project, and then we became ambassadors. And then in October, Sonia said, you know, we need to do something on the radio, and we put it out, and they came back and gave us you and said, listen, you're going to interview this guy. And and I can honestly tell you, I'm the last sports person on the planet. Like, I don't know anything about, and I did know who, like, I'd heard your name, and I thought, all right, Google this guy, and found out a little bit of information about you, and really immersed myself in learning about you. But this conversation has just enlightened me for your brilliance. And not just to be able to say from where you've been, but who you've become. I think that you're just incredible. And it's beautiful that we've been able to get to meet you, even though we haven't met you in face-to-face, but it feels like we're all in the same room. But the fact that you've been so raw and honest and humble, and such a man to be able to admit, you know, the highs and the lows and the, you know, the mistakes that you've made, that's just incredible. And it's just
Thank you.
beautiful for us to have had this experience to meet you.
I'm really grateful. Thank you very much. I appreciate those kind words. Really are lovely.
No, it is.
Thank you.
Look, you know, when any man can literally say, I've made mistakes as a father, I've made mistakes as a man, and I've treated women in a way that's been disrespectful, and I didn't know back then, but when you know better, you do better. And now you actually change that, and then you go out of your way to change what other people will do in the future. Honestly, that makes me want to cry, Archie, because that's just incredible. It is. It's incredible to even think that, you know, like it really sets forward to what a man is and what we want. We're the mum of boys, and we really want that for our kids.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. That's really
And Archie,
beautiful.
you're responsible not only for the generational change that's happened, you know, family, but these messages and the stories that you've told us today and the information that you've put out into the world, it might just be that one conversation that changes it for another boy out there and another kid, and then that instigates that generational change. So it's been so powerful what we've been able to speak about today, and we're picking up what you're putting down for sure. We're buying what you're selling, and we need to get into Yarraville and have a margarita out on the lawn with you and your partner one day and do a group healing together.
You're more than welcome.
So how do we support your Polished Man campaign, Arch?
Well,
how do we do that?
I have on I think it's my Insta, what do you call it, that little profile where there's a link.
The link in your bio.
You can go to that and obviously donate. I know that Polished Man have partnered with Cameo. So Cameo is a platform for people to, I suppose, get a message off someone that, like from the sporting world or whatever it be. And so they've partnered with them, and every bit that's raised on Friday and Saturday this week goes directly to the Polished Man campaign. So urge people to obviously get on that and call up. And
so what's your Insta handle? Where can we see you?
10 Archie. 10 Archie.
10 Archie.
10 Archie.
We're all on to
it.
Thank you so much. Thank you in a million ways. I
appreciate you guys for having me and doing such amazing work, and to be part of the Polished Man right in its infancy. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. Such awesome stuff. And I can already tell that your boys are in great hands.
Oh, we're doing our best. Don't worry. They've driven us completely mental, right? So we might look like we're doing okay, but homeschooling them for, what is it? It's been 21 weeks of homeschooling.
It is tough.
Please just take a breath when you say that out loud. 21 weeks of homeschooling. I'm barely sane. No wonder I'm in therapy. Do you know what I mean?
I just said, my partner's kids are, it's been tough, but I guess we eased off probably about a month ago or whatever it was in saying, okay, do this, you have to do that, have to do that. It was almost like, okay, you know what, just do a little bit. Even the teachers said, just do an hour, 2 hours, fine. And that just helped everything. And even they're great, because they know if they do it for an hour or 2 hours and get it done, they're fine. And then,
I think this week the teachers know that all the parents are like, you got one more week at home, you do whatever you want, kid, because I'm done.
I said to my son, I said to my son today, do you want to do your spelling words? He said no. I said okay. And that was it. Because I was like, 21 weeks I've been saying, let's do your spelling words, And today I just went, I don't think we need to. Because I figure if you're not going to learn them this week, you'll figure it out, these words, in another time in your life. Anyway, thank you so much, Archie. You're a share.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
What a gorgeous soul. Thank you so much.
You've been listening to the Sonya and Sasha For Real show, Live FM, BRIMBANK Live. That was the incredible Archie Thompson.
Sonya and Sasha For Real.